With Spider-Man back in the MCU and the entire Phase 4 mapped out, including all of those shiny MCU Disney Plus shows, there is a lot to be excited about once Phase 4 actually kicks off properly. Until then, however, it's hard not to look at that slate and think about the films we know are coming, but which we have no updates or strict confirmations on yet. To put it mildly, Phase 4 looks even more exciting, even with only its bones announced. This is, after all, where we'll get to see the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, where the Defenders characters can become active again, where the Guardians and the Avengers will return, and where we're bound to get even more new character debuts. Even with very little set in stone, there are a lot of rumours about what could be happening, and a lot of it could prove to be truly game-changing. With that in mind, I'm Will for What Culture, and here are 12 MCU Phase 5 rumours that would change everything. 12. Nova is coming, and he's bringing Thanos back. As has been already speculated since Infinity War and the mention of the decimation of Xandar that happened off-screen, Nova's future appearance in the MCU has already been seeded, and now there are more rumours about the Nova Corps hero. Firstly, he's on his way, which Jeremy Conrad said some time ago, and now there's a suggestion that his standalone movie will open Phase 5 and bring Thanos in to set up Nova's origin as Thanos destroys Xandar. Presumably that would only be for a cameo. New talk from WGTC and MCU Cosmic has also identified former Teen Wolf star Dylan O'Brien as a frontrunner to play the character, suggesting a younger take on this hero. 11. Magneto and Professor X could be people of colour. The X-Men movies have all typically been directly tied to, or at least had undercurrents related to, the civil rights movement in America. Mutants are very much the comic book universe's version of persecuted groups, because humanity invariably hates nothing more than variations on ourselves. Go figure. That link could be made even more overt if one game-changing Phase 5 rumour is to be believed, because it seems that Marvel are looking at casting black actors to play Magneto and Professor X. That would draw the Malcolm X, Martin Luther King illusions of the characters right to the surface. That would also fit in with Kevin Feige's insistence that we'll be seeing more diversity in future Marvel movies. 10. Young Avengers or Champions will debut. Looking at the way the rumour winds are blowing, it seems that there are plans at Marvel to bring the Young Avengers to the big screen. Led by Kate Bishop, most likely, and perhaps overseen by Hawkeye himself, the team could also include Cassie Lang-Stacher, Harley Keener's Iron Lad, which is why he was brought back for Endgame's ending, a younger Nova, and Ms. Marvel to say the very least. With some suggestion that the team would be used as another Disney Plus title for Phase 5, you have to think it would be a masterstroke by Disney to do so, because of the appeal to a strong, heavy-spending demographic. 9. Ghost Rider will return to the MCU. Not so long ago, the Ghost Rider show that had been planned for Hulu was cancelled mysteriously, and it seems the reason, according to rumours, is that Kevin Feige wants him in the main MCU timeline. There are some options here that a broad spectrum of rumours have suggested. Firstly, the version of the character to appear could be the cosmic Ghost Rider from the King Thanos comic storyline, or he could appear in Blade initially, or he could get his own Disney Plus series, or he could debut in another MCU movie first. It's all very hard to keep track of, but it would be great to see more supernatural elements introduced in the MCU. 8. Galactus will rise. As has been widely speculated since the Fox-Disney deal, rumour has it that Galactus will be the next big bad of the MCU. The suggestion is that the iconic villain will appear across the next 3 phases, with Nova appearing as his first herald in the Phase 5 Fantastic Four movie before Silver Surfer follows in the sequel. Given the logistical concerns around the character, that's going to be a huge deal, because it's going to push Marvel's creatives hard to convincingly bring him in. There's always going to be a goofy element, but it can't undermine him as a threat, and he can't be a freaking cloud. 7. The Inhumans may return. Now, here's a strange one. Despite the fact that The Inhumans was already the TV show that was quickly cancelled almost as quick as it was optioned, there may still be a future for them in the MCU. According to MCU Cosmic, the royal family, led by silent hero and fan favourite Black Bolt, are squarely in line for a return after Phase 4. Kevin Feige has already expressed his openness to bringing their story into the MCU, and Ms. Marvel being involved opens the door for them as her origin is tied to the Inhumans in the comics. We may see them appear in her Disney Plus show and then be transitioned into the main MCU at some point. That would presumably retcon their show out of existence, which honestly is probably not a bad thing. 6. The Thunderbolts are coming. This one comes courtesy of now somewhat infamous Marvel leaker Roger Wardle, who revealed pretty much all of Avengers Endgame without too many people noticing at the time. Now, whatever he says tends to turn a lot of heads. According to one of his more recent leaks, MCU fans are not only going to see a Thunderbolts movie, but a whole Thunderbolts trilogy, which will see the return of some familiar faces who have sat out some recent Marvel movies, but who the studios still have plans for. The reveal of Zemo's participation in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is telling here, but all of the others are currently still on ice, even with lots of previous rumours suggesting that we might get to see Red Hulk and Abomination in future movies. With all that in mind, it can surely only be a matter of time before Marvel do their own villain ensemble. Could this be even where Deadpool debuts? There's already a rumour that this would be his point of entry. 5. Black Widow might not be fully dead. Good news for anyone who was annoyed with how Black Widow was tossed out of the MCU and who refuses to be appeased by the forthcoming standalone prequel. One rumour suggests that her time is not up yet. According to sources allegedly close to We Got This Covered, who previously told them that Taskmaster would be the villain in Black Widow, among some other choice leaks, Marvel actually have plans to resurrect Scarlett Johansson's assassin and bring her back to the present-day MCU timeline. How they do this remains to be seen, but with magic and time travel and alternate dimensions now on the table, they can basically do anything they want. 4. Drax's daughter is alive and in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and LYLLA will appear. One of the big unresolved story threads in the Guardians movies is Drax's past, and it seems, thanks to a rumour from Roger Wardle once more, that we're going to see more of that particular story in Volume 3. On top of Gamora's involvement after the end of Endgame, Wardle says that Moondragon, the High Evolutionary, and LYLLA will all join the cast. That's LYLLA the Sentient Otter, for anyone unclear, and the High Evolutionary's link with Adam Warlock would fit in with how Volume 2 was left. 3. The Punisher and the Defenders will return. While everyone who loved the Netflix Defenders show has been annoyed since their cancellation, there might be some good news on the horizon, because rumour has it that their tenure might not be completely done. According to WGTC, Marvel wants to bring John Berthnell's Punisher back as a priority, as Kevin Feige was a big fan. It's unsurprising to be honest, because Berthnell was great, but it will presumably have to wait until Marvel is allowed to use the characters once more. On top of Berthnell's Frank Castle, they're also saying that Marvel are planning on bringing all of the original Netflix Defenders back to the MCU in their own projects, perhaps with Daredevil's Matt Murdock reappearing as a lawyer appointed to defend Peter Parker in Spider-Man 3. That would definitely be a bold way to go, but it would give Disney a captive audience they already know they can count on to respond well to existing casting choices. 2. Deadpool will join the main MCU timeline. When Disney bought Fox's rights and the mutants were restored to Marvel's ownership, the big question was over Deadpool and how the hell they could keep Ryan Reynolds in the role, but also make something that didn't completely fly in the face of everything Disney's softer edges stand for. Considering the family-friendly cut of Deadpool 2 was such a bust, it looks like a big logistical headache, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. According to rumours, Deadpool will join the established MCU and won't exist in an annex or alternate universe. It may well mean that he will have to be softened up, however, because Deadpool is basically Mr. Anti-Disney, and it would mean the whole MCU would change its tone massively just to accommodate him. We'll have to see exactly what they do. 1. Spider-Man could be in the Fantastic Four and Avengers Secret Wars. For a while back there, it looked like we might have lost Spider-Man from the MCU entirely, but now he's back, and it might be for a long time, including a cameo in Fantastic Four and big roles in Spider-Man 3 and the next Avengers movie, which will be another major event from the comics, according to one big rumour. The rumour comes courtesy of leaker Mikey Stutton from Comic Book Movie, who says that Marvel want Tom Holland's Spider-Man for a Secret Wars movie. Sutton also claims that Reed Richards will be Peter Parker's new mentor, while another rumour sets up Spider-Man as being the MCU's new Iron Man, who will continue to wear an Iron Spider suit and have his own AI. As a bonus, it seems that there's some suggestion that Spider-Man 3 might set up Sinister Six, as producer Amy Pascal hinted in the special features for Far From Home. Does this mean the Sinister Six is coming to the MCU? Probably not, but it would suggest that the MCU and Sony's Venomverse are indeed linked together if those characters are going to cross over, which in itself is a pretty exciting revelation. And there you have it, folks, 12 MCU Phase 5 rumours that would change everything. Feel free to drop this video a like if you enjoyed it, and drop me a follow on Twitter at YouSlyDogU. I'm Will for What Culture, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.